Hello, this is Griff. We're going to start here in a little bit at 3:30. Here, I'll just give you guys a little view of where we're at. It's windy today. I was going to do this down at the river, but it's so windy down there you can't really hear me. So if you're here and you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to put in my headset here real quick. And I didn't advertise that I was doing this today, so hopefully somebody shows up. All right, so I'm connected with my earphones. Okay, Sandra, yay, Sandra's back. Thank you so much, Sandra, for helping me out here. So I'm in the old growth redwood forest again. And I'm giving the same talk that I gave just a half an hour ago on the North Coast Redwoods page. And we're going to talk about my favorite, oh, there's a little close-up of me, favorite bird. One of my favorite birds, anyways. So hello, before we start, just want to say, whew, isn't it crazy what we're going through right now? Oh my goodness. Trudy from North Carolina, how's it going? Even Trudy in North Carolina is going through something similar. Oh, I see people over there hiking. They're starting to get people out in the park now because we've all been trapped inside for so long, and that's what I want to talk about. So I know this is getting rough for all of us, huh? Either we've been out of work, thank goodness I still have my job, been out of work, and so we're wondering how you're going to afford things, or you're just going stir crazy being in the house. You know, because especially those of you who live in the Midwest, it was all this like hardcore weather, and then it finally got nice, and you're being told to stay inside. Whew. So please don't be judgmental with each other right now. Now is a really good time to be forgiving, because like a lot of us are affected by this differently, and some of us are older and scared to death or have immune system or whatever, and we're scared to death that we're going to get this disease. Other people feel trapped inside the house and like they're not going to be able to afford the next bills. They have a lot of weird feelings going on right now, so it's a great time to be forgiving. It's a great time to be understanding. It's a great time to take things, you know, with a grain of salt. So that's my preachy COVID moment that, you know, you guys should all remind me of later when you see me complaining. But like I told the earlier group, the only thing I'm going to complain about right now is the scratch on my nose. See it? See that scratch on my nose? So I've wanted to get a cat for the longest time, but I had this, like, when I worked for the California Conservation Corps, I was all over the place and fighting fires and going here and there. So now that I work for state parks, I'm home, so I got a shelter-in-place kitty, and she attacks my face in the middle of the night consistently. She's so cute, though it's hard to be mad at her, but that's why you'll see me with all these marks on my face, because I'm getting jumped in the middle of the night by a little kitty, a little soft gray kitty. What's up, Lorena and Kevin? How's it going? So what we're going to talk about today is one of the coolest birds ever, and also one of the most misidentified birds ever, okay? Because when you see this bird in the sky, it's got a 6 feet wingspan. That's about how wide my arms are, is 6 feet. It's got a 6 feet wingspan, so when people see it, they're like, eagle, hawk, and then it gets closer and they're like, oh, it's just a turkey vulture. But you should be like, oh, turkey vulture, and be excited about it, because turkey vultures are super, super cool. Okay, so we're going to talk about those, and we're going to remind ourselves just how cute they are, because they are really, really cute. And I'm going to move this thing off my screen. Oops, what happened? Am I still there? You guys still there? Okay, there you are. So this is what a turkey vulture looks like. Isn't that sweet? That's so cute. So they're called turkey vultures because they, are you guys still there? Oh, there, yeah. They're called turkey vultures because turkeys also have a similar looking hair. And so, but they're not even closely related to turkeys. Biologists think that they don't have these hairs in their head because these are scavengers. They're 100% scavengers. They don't kill anything. And they often stick their heads inside of dead animals and pull out the guts. That was just for dramatic effect. And they pull out the guts and they eat them. And so some biologists think that by not having the feathers around its eyes and nose, that it keeps bacteria away from those things. Other biologists think that it's to help them regulate temperature, because their temperature varies so much from going to the ground to really, really high in the sky. And then some thinks it's both. Okay. So when I love them too, Lorena. So when you see a bunch of turkey vultures circling in the sky in North America, people are always like, they must be circling something dead. And that's not actually true here. It might be true in the old world with the old world vultures. They're different. We'll talk about that in a minute. But turkey vultures, when they're circling, they're saving energy. So when warm air comes off the earth, it comes off in columns, okay, and it goes up. So if you're in a plane, sometimes you'll feel turbulence, and you're like, whoa, we're gonna crash. And that's, the turbulence is often like from wind gusts or from rising warm air. And so turkey vultures use that rising warm air to save, and other birds, to save energy. It's kind of like if you were walking uphill, it's like hard, you're like, and you're walking uphill, but if there was like a magical escalator that appeared, you would jump on that so you could go to the top of like Mount Shasta or Half Dome or whatever. So turkey vultures use these, and they turn in on them, so they spiral on up. And it's really cool because you can see the warm air currents where they're happening by watching the bird spiral up. And that saves energy. And then once turkey vultures are up there, they have great vision, and they have a sense of smell, which is very unusual among birds. Most birds don't have a good sense of smell at all, but turkey vultures have an excellent one, and they can smell dead stuff from a very, very, very far distance. In fact, let me get the name of this stuff right. We found out, Westerners found out relatively recently that turkey vultures had a sense of smell. And one of the reasons, and once we found out, a Union Oil Company used this chemical called mercaptan, which smells like dead and decaying animals, and they put it in their gas lines, and they pumped it through with the gas. So whenever there was a leak in the pipeline, the turkey vultures would go to that leak because they smelled the mercaptan, which they thought was like dead and dying animals. And that's how the Union Oil Company figured out where there was a leak in their pipes. So very unusual to have a sense of smell. And when they're up there spiraling, okay, turkey vultures don't have a call, okay? Imagine if they did have a call. I wonder what it would sound like. But turkey vultures don't really have a call. They communicate by kind of like moving, some wildlife biologists believe they communicate by moving their wings around and kind of like signaling to their family members. They're smart birds, and they stick with their family for quite a time. And they can communicate with each other and tell each other where dead stuff is, but they never want anybody else to know where the dead stuff is because they want all the dead stuff to themselves. So when you see them in the sky, one of the ways you can tell it's turkey vulture is because their wings are lifted up a little bit. So a lot of the birds are flat. They have, it's called dihedral, or like a V, and that's how you can kind of tell them. So I'm gonna move just so you guys can see, because I know a lot of you are sheltering in place, and so you want to see redwoods too. And this is kind of like a lecture on turkey vultures. I was hoping to be down there at the river and spot one, but it's so windy down there that we're not going to be able to hear the microphone if I go down there. So once again, I'm in Humboldt Redwood State Park, and turkey vultures are common and year-round here. They migrate south for the winter in most parts of the United States, but right here in Northern California, along the coast, they can hang out. And because there's mild temperatures, that's why the redwoods are here, is because we have mild temperatures. Never gets too hot, never gets too cold. And turkey vultures like that too. So they stay here in the redwood region year-around. And they nest like in rocks. They don't really build a nest, but they lay their eggs like in rock clusters, on ledges and cliffs, and little caves, and hollow logs, in hollow trees like chimney trees. And their nests are super difficult to find, okay? And if you do find their babies are so cute, as you can imagine, and they make a hissing sound. You guys are probably thinking that they're probably not cute, look like Skeksis from the Dark Crystal or something. So, here, this is a nice spot. Not really big trees, but lots of beautiful undergrowth. So, my introduction to... Yes, Laura, welcome. So my introduction to turkey vultures was when I was a little kid. I used to see them. They were like the obvious bird that I could see because I was a kid during the 70s when there was a lot of DDT, so we didn't have a lot of eagles and stuff back then. They've come back thanks to everybody who efforts to conserve them. And yes, it is lovely here. So I would see them in the sky, and I'd pretend like I knew their names and stuff and could tell them apart, but that was not true. But other kids believed me. And then when I was like 12, when I first turned 12, it might even been 11, my mom helped me get a job volunteering at a wildlife care center when I was 12. And I learned so much there. And being 12, what they usually have you do is just like clean cages and feed baby birds. And I also could go get animals and bring them in to be weighed. So like when we release them, we want to check their weight. So turkey vultures, even though they have a 6-foot wingspan, they only weigh around 2 pounds. And so when they sent me in to go get one, you know, I was kind of intimidated because their wings are really long and you know, they could wing slap you. So, you know, and so I was kind of scared of that. So I'd been trained though, and I had my little towel, and I went to go throw it over the turkey vulture, and the turkey vulture said, whew, and got out of the way, and then looked at me and just went, blah, and threw up. And it was the grossest, nastiest smelling throw up. Their insides are acidic, 1% pH, 1 point pH. So very acidic. They can eat diseases like anthrax, bacteria, and rabies and all these things and neutralize it. So when they eat this like contaminated, dirty carcass, they can eat it and poop it out. And when they poop it out, it's clean now. So these are very good birds to have around. We don't want turkey vultures, we don't want any vultures to die because they are cleaning up everything. But when they throw up, when you're trying to catch them when you're 12 years old, it's super gross, but that makes them cool because when you're 12-year-old, sometimes gross is very cool. So I thought this was cool. So took it in, got it weighed. And I found out that was one of their defense mechanisms is to throw up to make them lighter so they could take off faster or just to gross out whatever's trying to eat them. Because you'd be like, I'm going to eat you. And then they smell the throw up. You're like, oh, never mind, never mind. So turkey vultures do that. And they do this they have another really gross adaptation that I love. They pee and poop on their legs. So it's hard to say. Birds don't really pee and poop. They kind of like shapiss. Like it's the same time. It's, you know, when you see like when they poop on your windshield and you'll see a dark part and then a white part. The white part is uric acid. That's the pee. And the dark part is the poop. And they do it kind of at once. Like you notice never seen a bird just like taking a leak. It's because they don't. They do this combo thing. Okay. So why am I telling you that? Oh yes, because when they get hot, they do that on their legs, okay, to keep cool. So it's another way of regulating their temperature. So cool stuff. Turkey vultures are awesome. All vultures are awesome. It gets even cooler. Hey, Cassandra and Laura. Laura says Sketsy's good one. So I'm in this beautiful place talking about my favorite bird. Oh wait, isn't that a Christmas Carol? So I'm in this beautiful place talking about my favorite bird. How fortunate am I? And I still have my job, thank goodness. I know a lot of other people don't, and I'm filling for you big time. But forget about all that. Listen to turkey vultures, it'll make you feel better. So convergent evolution. So convergent, I'll tell you the definition. Let me read you the definition of convergent evolution so I can do it justice. In evolutionary biology, convergent evolution is a process whereby organisms not closely related independently evolve similar traits as a result of having to adapt to similar environments or ecological niches. So as an interpreter, I'll interpret that for you. That means that when there's the same set of environmental factors, an animal will meet it in similar ways, even if they're not closely related. So for example, bats, butterflies, and birds are all descended from different ancestors that don't have wings, yet they all evolved wings in flight independently of each other. So that's an example of convergent evolution. It works, okay? Flight works on this planet. So turkey vultures, the New World vultures, North and South America, look and act, behave, eat, are very similar to Old World, Asian, African, and European vultures, but they're not even closely related. The Old World vultures are related to raptors, hawks and eagles, and the New World vultures are related to storks. So convergent evolution made them look like each other, act like each other, but they're not closely related. Isn't that amazing? Isn't this world amazing? The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know, and the more in awe I am, because there's so many cool things going on out there. But convergent evolution, those vultures look just like each other, act like each other. They're not closely related. One's related to a stork. That's crazy. It's so interesting. So our friend here, our beautiful, kissable face friend here, is not really a bird of prey, even though if you look in a lot of field guides, turkey vultures are in the birds of prey section. So I want to check my notes here and see. Oh, so one of the way that I love turkey vultures, I wrote a book called Totem Magic Going Mad for kids ages 10 and up. And the main character is the magical protector of turkey vultures. And I stuck that in there and I won't tell you the whole story, but just because I want people to appreciate turkey vultures more. And that's kind of what this book, that he starts off as this awkward character that no one appreciates, and then people start to realize how cool he is. And that's how I want people to think about turkey vultures. People look at them and think they're disgusting, they're scavengers or blah, blah, blah. They neutralize disease. And right now, we're in this pandemic state. Anything that neutralizes a disease, we should be its fan, okay? Anything that can neutralize diseases should get our adoration and respect. So send some love out to vultures. And you know what? This animal, that's an Egyptian vulture. It is the first animal protected by civilization. Lots of tribes all over the world had their totem animals that they protected or whatever, they didn't eat or whatever. But the first civilizations, Mesopotamia and Egypt and Greece, the first animal that a civilization protected was this bird. It's the Egyptian vulture, and it was protected in pharaonic laws, because they thought it was a sacred bird of Isis, and it meant a bunch of things. You guys can look it up and read about it. It's been a while since I read about it, but it's really cool that this was like the first civilization's protected animal was a vulture, because they knew that vultures were cool. So thank you very much. I didn't advertise this. So, oh, you know what, Jesse? I just read that. So the buzzard, Europeans called hawks buzzards, and for some reason we started calling vultures buzzards over here, but really they're not buzzards. Buzzards are the European word for hawk. So thank you guys for joining me. Please share these. I would love as many wildlife nerds and students that want to learn more about wildlife to tune in 3:30 on Fridays and Sundays here at Humboldt Redwood State Parks. I talk about plants usually on Fridays, and I talk about animals on Sunday. And so please share and tell your friends that are into animals that that's what we're doing. And good luck with all this sheltering in place. I hope you guys, I don't know, just be forgiving of each other. Everybody is processing this differently. So I'm trying not to be judgmental about anybody. Just be safe. You know what I'm saying? Just be safe. Keep your distance, and especially if you live with someone who's elderly or has an immune compromised disease or whatever. All right? So if you have questions, go ahead and write them in the comments, and I will answer them later. And thank you very much for joining me. Please like and share, and you can join us on the Facebook page, North Coast Redwoods, every day at 3 o'clock for more live from my coworkers, other nature guides in the area. All right, talk to you guys later. Oh, I forgot the most important part. How to help turkey vultures. Sorry, I forgot this part. Don't use rat poisons. When you use rat poisons, it kills the rats, but they often go outside and they die on the ground, and then a hawk will eat them, and then it will die, and the turkey vulture will eat the hawk, and then it will die. So please do not use rat poisons. Use T-Rex rat traps, or go to raptorsarethe.solution.org. Raptorsarethe.solution.org. And don't throw food outside your window on the freeway. You'll be like, oh, this is biodegradable, so it's not really littering. It's just as bad as littering, because when you throw that piece of food out on the side of the highway, the mice come out to get it, and then the hawk flies down to get the mouse. The hawk didn't evolve with like a hollow rock going across the ground at 65 miles per hour, and so it gets hit by the car, and then the turkey vulture comes to eat it, and then often it gets hit by the car. So please just wait till you get home and then throw away your stuff. All right, thank you, Jesse. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sandra. I will see you guys later, and remember, don't use rat poisons.